Hello everyone, my name's Maddie Coughlin. I've been doing wool at Quilter's Cupboard for quite some time. Today I'm talking about Seven Snowmen. It's this pattern by Bonnie Sullivan. You have two options with this pattern. You can either do all 7 snowmen in a row, or you can do this sort of penny rug that she calls it a penny rug. I opted not to do the scalloped edge, and Tammy Baker and I were talking about how fun would it be to make it a family runner or penny rug. We thought about how a lot of vans and cars have the little family figures at the back where there's a mom, a dad, 3 kids, a cat, a dog, and whatever. So for this one, I thought I will add a little girl. So this is a little girl. So this is my daughter-in-law, Trish, Rose, and my son, Mike. To do this, you need to add more background to this piece. So my main background, this dark here, is flannel. My border is flannel, and also I did a little crumb catcher, or piping, as it's probably known, for my border pieces. I usually line the back of my piece when I'm stitching with SF101, but this is such good quality flannel that I didn't need to. It was thick enough. But if your flannel is a thin fabric, then please do add that to it. The other thing is, if you're adding extra people in here, you need to add at least, I would say, 3 inches, because that gives you enough space between the tree and another person, and also it gives you room enough for borders. So take into account how many people you're adding, and follow the basic pattern here to do your layout, and then add another 2 to 3 inches for each individual person that you're going to add. And that would be the same with your background. You need to order that, not order it, but measure it and get that ready. So that was a really fun project. This one is also from Bonnie Sullivan, and it's called 7 Santas. I didn't do the runner, but I did the Santas because I thought they were so much fun. And we got all these beautiful wools in, some blues and blue-green, and many other colors here to choose from. We just got a nice big shipment in of wool. So some of my favorite tools and threads to use are wool threads, embroidery floss. When I stitched this, I just used a whip stitch, 1 strand of embroidery floss or a wool thread to match your wool. The preferred needles, for me anyway, are the number 8 embroideries. They could be John James, it doesn't matter what the brand. It's a number 8 large eye. And the other, when I'm doing, especially for embellishing, is the Bowen chenille number 24s. It's got a nice big eye, and it's easy to go through several layers of wool. The other thing I wanted to talk about were these new ugly sweaters that we got in. They're buttermilk basin patterns. We have the elf ugly sweater, a gingerbread man. This one's just called Hanging Mittens, and this one is Christmas tree. So they tell you in the pattern how to do it one way, but I found that that way can be a little bit fiddly because you're working with tiny pieces of wool that are attached with just, maybe 1/8 of an inch overlap, which isn't enough when you're stitching. So when I made these, I did the elf, the ugly Christmas tree, and the mittens. I should hold these up so you can see them. And the elf. Now, for a piece like this that has many little pieces on it, I like to use a foundation piece. It's so much easier to sew it when you can just put the things right on top. I use soft fuse, which I forgot to bring in here, but soft fuse is it's very similar to heat and bond. It's very thin. It keeps your wool nice and soft so it doesn't get stiff like heat and bond would. Um, so what you're going to do is trace each individual piece onto the soft fuse. Her patterns are always reversed, so you don't have to worry about something being backwards, such as these mitts would be on the other side. This one would be over here and this one would be over there, which is the wrong way around if you didn't have a reversed pattern. So when I made it, my black was the foundation piece. Then I put down, I guess it's like a dicky or whatever, and then the arms, and then the sashing bits, or it wouldn't be called sashing bits on clothing, but those pieces, and then I did the mittens. So they're all ironed in place, they're not going to fall off, and it's so much easier to stitch. And again, I used one strand of either embroidery floss if I didn't have a wool thread to match the colors that I'm using on here. And then you do your embellishments later. For your embellishments, you can use Valdani thread. I again just used the Aurifil wool threads and an Aurifil cotton thread for some of these. For this one, and in the kit, this is how they will be. This crazy wool here is the foundation piece, and in the elf, the green is the foundation piece. I didn't do a sample for the gingerbread, but in that one, the black would be your foundation piece. You have enough in the kit to do all the front and your back. So there's also buttons if buttons happen to be part of that particular pattern. The only other thing you'd have to get would be your threads. Many of us have many packages of embroidery floss, and the soft fuse, which we sell half meter for just under $10, and it'll go a long way. And that is it for me today. If you have any questions, I'm in the shop on Wednesdays, or you can always email the store and they will forward it to me. Have a nice day. Happy sewing.